So while we wait for the others to join us, let's just do a quick review of what we did yesterday. So we started by looking at some basic commands to retrieve data from a database, and we saw that two of the most common keywords in SQL, that's select and from. And in select, you use select to indicate the fields or the columns you want to select, and you use from to indicate the table.
Excuse me, your voice is echoing.
It's echoing.
Yes.
It's fine from here.
Are you using multiple devices to join the meeting? I think that
No, just on my laptop.
Is there anyone also having the same issue?
He's using multiple devices. That's why it's happening.
Or maybe it's connected twice on his Zoom. And he's using his laptop and his phone at the same time.
Okay. You can try to check out what's wrong, or you can leave and join again if it's still echoing. So two keywords, select and from, the most popular. These are just some examples of the keywords in SQL. Select shows you select to indicate the fields or columns you want to view, and from the table you actually want to view. That's the table where those fields are located in. And we saw that you can select a single column. You can view just one column if you want, or you can view multiple columns. You just have to indicate the multiple columns you want to view. At the same time, you can also view all the columns using asterisk, which is a wildcard. Most times when you're starting out new, you're going to be using the asterisk because you may not have an idea of the columns in the database to begin with. And aliasing is something we looked at. Aliasing is just another way of giving your table a name, so it will be easier for you to reference it in your queries. And it comes in handy when you deal with aggregate functions, especially like count. Count is an aggregate function, but later we're going to look at other aggregate functions. And you use the distinct keyword to retrieve unique values in a particular column. So if you want to see all the unique languages in the themes table, you can use select distinct. So you're saying, give me the unique languages in this table. What are the categories of languages that exist in my database? And we saw some applications how you can use distinct. And we looked at count. If you want to find out the number of items, number of rows in your table, you can use this count function. Yeah, it's an aggregate function. That's why it has the bracket. So you can use this count function. And you use the asterisk when you want to count all the rows, including missing values. So both missing values and non-missing values. When you use asterisk, it's going to return all the rows. But if you do not want to return null values, the count of null values, you can specify a particular column. In this case, it's just going to return the total number of people that actually have birth dates. So those people that don't have birth dates, if it's null, then it won't count those people. So you may be getting different results when you use count with the asterisk and count with birth dates. So that's the difference, and it's an important difference. In case like one of the queries you have to do is to find out how many rows exist in your database, then if you're doing something like this, you may actually get the wrong results, because this may not give you the total number of rows, especially if this is missing, if there are missing values here. Or just be sure you can just use this and it will give you everything. Finally, we looked at how to combine distinct and count. So you can count the number of unique items. If you don't want to view the unique items, you want to know, okay, what are the unique languages? What are the unique titles? Then you can use count and distinct together. And this is the syntax for doing it. I'm going to solve some exercises. So with 2, which starts today, we're going to look at data manipulation with SQL. Well, before we do that, someone had a question the last time. Let me check it out. On how to count columns. So this is the code that is going to help you count columns if you want to count the columns in a particular table. But the thing is, you're not going to be querying from the table itself. You're actually going to be querying from a metadata. So all this other stuff that exists here actually contain information about the database. That's metadata. So data about the database, not the main data in the database. I hope that's not confusing. So that's what this is.
Okay, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the full meaning of Meta? META? Or is it
Meta.
just a name or an acronym?
No, it's actually a word. Meta is like extra information.
Okay, okay.
Like
Thank you.
extra. If meta simply means metadata means data about data. So data that is
Okay,
about the data.
okay, okay.
In this case, you are not querying a particular table. You have to actually come to this information schema, which contains information about the database. Then you are selecting columns. And this other part is filtering. We haven't covered this yet. This is what we covered today, filtering. So you pass in the table name you want, and you pass in the table schema. Table schema in this case is public. If you check our database, you can see there's only one schema. The schema is the blueprint, so that's public. So if I run this again, it will just tell you 9, but people don't really bother with this part.
Okay, so sorry to cut you short. Okay, this public, does it mean there could be another form other than public? You understand public is something that is exposed to the
Yeah.
general, So are there other forms of this public thing? Maybe private or restricted?
I think it's either public or it's not public. So that would be like
Okay,
the database designers. They are going to make sure their data is not exposed to the public in this case.
okay.
But this one is actually
Okay.
public.
Public, okay. Okay. It's one of the security parameters, right?
Yeah,
Okay. That's good. Thanks.
you're welcome. And so I'm just going to try this and then we can go back to the slides. So this part is where this is where the fun in SQL starts, where you actually start enjoying SQL, the coding and everything. So the first part is to filtering numbers. So filtering, what's the whole concept? What we're doing the other time, so just returning all the data in the database to us. But sometimes you may not want all the data, you just want the data that meets a particular condition. Let's say you have a friend, your friend is like, hey, I just want to see all the movies that came out in 2000 because I'm like this old soul. You want to see the movies that came out in 2000, which is weird. And this is where you come in as the analyst. You just want to brag about your skill, like, hey, I can help you, check out movies that are there that came out in 2000. So the tool you're going to use is this where clause. So where is the keyword that allows you to find rows that match a particular condition. So in this part, I mentioned, just learned about this. Awesome. So in this part, I mentioned you can use the where keyword to match a specific value. And that's in this case where you want to get movies that came out in 1960 or 2000, that's a specific value. Then a range of values would be, you want to get movies that came out between the year 1990 to 2000. So the where keyword will allow you to do that, or you could filter it based on multiple conditions. Multiple conditions would be like, oh, okay, I want to see movies that came out in 2000. I want to see movies that came out in 2010. So 2000 and 2010, just those two. That's multiple values. And there's something known as an operator. We're going to look at an operator. Yeah, besides finding a specific rows that match data, you can also find rows that do not match data. You want to find everything except that particular row. particular data. Let's get into it first. Bring this down. Okay, so this is the syntax for filtering numbers. You have your select as usual, then you have your from film table. Now you're adding the condition, okay, where release year is equal to 1960, meaning I don't want to see everything. I just want to focus on the movies that were released in 1960. And one of the operators we've used in this case is the equal to operator. So this is called comparison operator. From maths, normal maths, to make sense, this is comparison operator equal to. So let's try this code before we look at other operators. All right, so again, I want to select all the movies, all the columns. I want to see all the details from the films table where the release year is equal to, let's use 2000 for that, our weird friend that wants to see movies that came out in 2000. And then go ahead and query this. Right, so what we can see here are all the movies that came out in 2000. So you can see everything 2000. I feel like actually, oh, Gladiator, cool. So this is how you search your data. Now you can just send this to your friend. You can download it, save results to a file, then send it to your friend. Like, oh yeah, these are the list of movies. This is a list of movies that came out in 2000. So let's look at other operators besides this comparison operator. Okay, so the first one we've already seen equal to, that's the comparison. Then we have not equal to. So in this one, you're trying to say the movies, you want to view all the movies except the ones that came out in 2000. And this is the operator, this is the sign. It's that you use exclamation mark and equal to, or you just use the greater than, less than symbol together. They do the same thing. And this other one, this operator greater than, you're saying you want to see all the movies that came out after a particular column, after a particular year. In our previous example, if you use this, it means you want to see all the movies that came out after 2000. The less than is also the same thing. You want to see all the movies that came out before 2000. Greater than or equal to, this is, you want to see all the movies that came out after 2000, including the year 2000. So you are not just looking at the movies that came out after 2000, you're also going to include the 2000 movies that came out in 2000 itself. Same thing applies here, less than or equal to. In less than or equal to, you want to find the movies that came out before 2000 and also include the movies that came out in the year 2000. Right, so demonstration. So what we're going to do now is, for the first one, we want to select the film ID, the IMDb score from the reviews table. Okay, reviews table. So yeah, I think this is the first time we're working with the reviews table. So we want to select these values from the reviews table and filter on scores higher than 7.0. Let's see a practical application of this. Let's say that your friend or another friend this time. This friend is like, yeah, I don't see any other movies. I don't watch any other movies. I only watch top-notch movies. And the way he uses, what he uses to evaluate top-notch movies are the IMDb score. Maybe he goes online, he checks the score. Oh, the movie rating is, it's okay, then you can see it. So if it's higher than 7.0, then he will see the movie. But if it's not, he won't. So you can help him out, say, yeah, let me help you analyze the data and find out the movies that meets that criteria. Now we're doing it. Let me go again. Movies with reviews greater than 7.0. Just to comment. And then let's see. So we want to select. It told us to get film ID and IMDb score. So those are the only two values we want to see. So I want to see the film ID and IMDb score from the reviews table. Just making sure it's reviews. Check reviews. And this is why I filter. So we're going to filter it by. I just want to see the IMDb scores where it is greater than, they said where it is higher. So this is where you know that you're going to use the greater than comparison, greater than operator rather, greater than 7.0, and I can end my statement. These are the movies the guy wants to see. Okay, so it's running. Nice. So we can see these are the film ID. If you want to actually see the movies, we have to connect it back to the films table. That's something we're going to do in week 3. Yeah, week 3. But these are all the movies that have the IMDb score greater than 7.0. Let's see if there's anyone that doesn't fit that criteria. 7.1, good. 7.68. I haven't seen anyone up to 9. Too bad. Where did I? Yes, 9. Oh wow, 9 points. I passed it. 9.3. This must be, 7.4. I'm just going to write that down later, just in case. 7.4. All right, let's go back to the next question. Okay, so this one still works with the reviews table. So they want us to select the film ID and Facebook likes of the first 10 records with less than 1,000 likes from the reviews table. So I'm going to assume that this table now, it contains information about the film and then the number of likes it got on Facebook, whether people actually loved the movie, whether people didn't like it. So the higher the likes, the better the movie. And in this case, they want us to just get all those movies that got less than 1,000 likes. So let's work on this. $1,000 Facebook likes. So the reason why I like canceling it like this and starting all over again without editing is because it's actually something I want you to do. So you get used to the flow. When you type it, the muscle memory it's built rather than just editing the code. So you just start from scratch, type it so you get used to it. Right, so what do they want? They want us to select the film ID and Facebook likes. So those are the two columns, Facebook likes. Then the table is the reviews table. And they want the movies that have less than 1,000 Facebook likes. So where Facebook likes is less than 1,000, but that's greater than less than 1,000. Okay, let's run this. It's done running, but my screen is frozen. Let me open it again.
It could be network because it's running here though.
No, it actually ran, just it went blank, but I couldn't review anything.
Mine said the review does not exist.
The table is reviews, not review.
Oh.
So let's go again. Select film ID, Facebook likes. Those are the two columns we want to view. From the reviews table, and the condition is where the Facebook likes is less than 1,000. Okay, so here's it, the result. All the like, oh, this one got 0 likes time. Wonder why. All of all the movies here, they have less than 1,000 likes. All right, let's view the other demonstration. Okay, so this other one is different because it's actually an aggregate function we're supposed to use. We are supposed to count how many records have a nums votes of at least 100,000 and use the alias films over 100K votes. Count how many records have a num votes of at least. Okay, I think this is still with the reviews table. Let's just see everything in the reviews table. Yeah, so this is the num votes column they want us to select. And let's go back again. So count how many records have a num votes of at least 100,000. And then they've given us an alias to use for the name. So select count. Num votes. And then the condition is where num votes has at least 100,000. So at least is meaning it should either be greater than or equal to 100,000. So it means we are including the 100,000, which means greater than or equal to 100,000. No. 100,000. 1, 2, 3. Well, let's do this. I know I'm not using the alias yet. Just want to see the result. So 1, 2, 1, 1. And they said we should use the alias film num over films over 100K votes. Okay. So to add the alias, you can use as. Okay, I'll teach you something else today. Films over 100K votes. When you run this, the column name will change as we saw yesterday. So another reason why alias are important is because of the adding meaning to the data. If you give someone this data now, just count. What does the count mean? What's this person counting? What are we counting? Well, if you have a column name films over 100K votes, it makes sense. The person knows, okay, there are 1,211 films that have over 100K votes, or at least 100K votes. Why is this taking time now?
Right, I guess it's network. Mine has compiled.
It's network. Okay. Once this runs, I want to show you another thing you can do with alias. Sometimes you don't need to use the ask keyword. You could just leave it like that without the ask keyword. Okay, yeah, it has shown films over 100K votes. So alias, you don't need to use the ask keyword. You could leave it this way and it's still going to work. I'm gonna try it. Yeah, it's still going to work whether I use the ask. Now, the reason why you're using that ask is so someone reading your code, if your code is maybe longer than this, there are more lines and there are lots of alias. Maybe you have another column where you're doing something and you put an alias. It will make it easier to read. Like you have that ask keyword. Someone will immediately see it. Okay, oh yeah, this person is using an alias here. Understand? Good to go. So that's one advantage of actually using the ask. That's why I just use it. Other times, if my query isn't that much, I can just quickly use the alias without this ask keyword. So what's the next step? Filtering text. So what we did was filtering numbers. And when you're filtering numbers, you can see the comparison operators you use. When you want to filter text, in Postgres, this is the syntax. Let's use a real world example now. Say you have a friend, yes, you have plenty of friends, and this other friend in particular is learning Spanish. And because it's learning Spanish, it's like, hey, okay, I'm just going to be seeing movies where they speak Spanish. Can you help me find some Spanish movies? Let me see those movies. So that's the case here. Now you're now trying to help your friend find Spanish movies. Guess one will be not the Papel, and Money Heist. I mean, La Casa de Papel. That's the Spanish name. I've forgotten it. Yeah, something in Postgres is that when you are comparing strings like this, Postgres uses single quotes, so double quotes won't work. I think double quotes will give you an error. So remember, Postgres uses single quotes. Let's find the movies for our friend. So comments, find Spanish movies. Which means I want to select, let's just select only the title from the films table. Where the language is Spanish, so single quotes. And we can run this. Awesome. Tango. Yes.
With Excel, when you want to select any text, you have to put it in double quotes. Is it the same for SQL? Like when you want to select any text, it has to be in a single quote.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I explained. If you're working with text, it has to be in quotes. But Postgres uses single quotes. Postgres doesn't use double quotes. So when you're comparing text, yeah, it has to be in quotes. But you saw with numbers, you can put the number like that without quotes, except the column is a character or voucher. But when you're working with text, use quotes, single quotes
Hello,
to
sir.
be precise. Yeah.
Hello. But yesterday when you use the double quote, it works. You only complain about the on the space.
Yes, that
Yesterday.
was for, yeah, I remember that was for a different context where you have a space in the movie name, in the column name, not the value itself. Because this is the value we are checking for. I don't know if you understand. Let's try the double quotes. It's not even highlighting it. So you see, it's giving the error. I think MySQL uses double quotes. MySQL uses double quotes, but Postgres doesn't.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, you now sees it as a column. All right. And
Yeah,
there's
the
no
other one.
column.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
Sorry, I noticed that you put a semicolon at the end of the Spanish, but I didn't put it, but I still arrived at the same result. So does it really matter?
And that's what we said in the last class. I said it doesn't matter whether I put the semicolon or not, it's going to run. I just said it's best practice to put the semicolon, so just get used to it, because semicolon just shows people that you've ended that SQL code, that SQL command. This is where it stops.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So
I still have a question.
yeah, what's your question?
I remember last class you said title is heading of the column because we did select title. But in this case, this title, is it the title of the movie or the entire title of the column?
No, it's the title of the movie. And what I meant
But the
was,
one we did get was title of the column.
the title is the column name. It's one of the column names. Let me copy this just and show you what I meant. Let's view everything. Let's just view everything at once. Yeah, so this is what I meant. These are the column names, and title is one of the columns in this films table. So what we were selecting them, we just wanted to view just this column, and the column is title. So it's not like the title of the title, it's title of the column. No, it's just the column name. If you want to view the country, maybe you just want to see the country, another column, you check out the country where Spanish movies came out from. So you see some movies that were made in USA, they spoke Spanish. Mexico spoke Spanish, Argentina. So do you understand the title part?
Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
You're welcome. Let's move on to the next part. So remember, single quotes. I think it's MySQL, another database management system that allows you to use double quotes. Yeah, I made this mistake once because back then I was working with Postgres, some projects just do use Postgres, then some other projects use MySQL. And then I didn't like think of anything that there was anything to it because just the switching. I mean, it's still SQL. Then I came to Postgres, then I used the double quotes and I was seeing error. I was like, okay, why is this giving me error? I didn't know there was like specific that in Postgres we use single quotes. So I learned it the hard way too. It's a single quote. Don't worry, if you make a mistake and use double quotes, you see the error and you will remember single quotes. Okay, so for demonstration, we've already done the first one. That's selecting all the movies that used where they spoke Spanish. Second one is to view all the movies that was made in USA. Made in the USA, it's a sound. Okay. So let's see all those movies made in USA. Normally I can edit this, but let's start again. So we get used to typing the codes. So that's USA movies. So select, just want to see the title this time, just the title. Okay, let's use everything. So let's use the title and country so you can be sure, you can confirm it's giving us the right answer. From the films table. I do. Yeah, the country is USA. And we run it. So I guess these are Hollywood movies. Let's just add the release dates, release year. Just want to see when they came out. I wonder if you can even download any of these movies. 1916. Let's go deep. 1966. 1999. 2000. 2006. Ah, yeah, I remember this. This was one of my favorite movies back then. DOA, Dead or Alive. Good movie. Let's see. And let me just see where the year stops. 2012. Hopefully Avengers should be here. Or Battleship. Oh yeah, Battleship. Good movie. So, okay, we're distracting ourselves. No, I like this data set. I love this data set already. Okay, the next part is multiple criteria. What we did before, going back, you just say, you see, we just filtering based on one condition, that the language should be Spanish or the year should be 1960. But now we want to filter based on multiple criteria. And there are keywords that can help us do this. We have and, or, between, then there's in. And if the query gets, if the question, what they require you to find out gets complicated, not complicated in a hard way, just gets complicated, maybe it's too long, then you can use parentheses to help you understand it. So let's see an example. All right, so this one, we're going to see how to use the or operator. In this case, that your friend that wanted to learn Spanish movies, wanted to see Spanish movies because he's learning Spanish. Let's say he also happens to start learning French and he's like, okay, I don't just want to see Spanish movies, let me also see French movies. So you want to find out the movies in the database where they speak Spanish, either Spanish or they speak French. So that's the case study. Either they speak Spanish or they speak French. You have two criteria now, two conditions. So the or statement, or the or keyword rather, it's going to, at least one of the conditions must be true. It's going to, you only need one of the conditions to be satisfied. So it's going to return an output where the results, it's either the language is Spanish or the language is French or the language is actually both. So if there's no French in the database at all, it's just going to return Spanish. So this one, you just need at least one of the conditions to be fulfilled. That's the or statement. Let's try this out. It's like any other thing. Maybe you want to buy food and you tell your friend, okay, if there's no fried rice, you can buy, what else do you like besides fried rice? You can buy jollof rice. So either buy fried rice or jollof rice. So you just need at least one of the conditions to be true. Find French or Spanish movies. So let's select the title. We want to see the title of the movie. We also want to see the language so we can be sure. Then this is from the films table. and I want to select it where the language is equal to French. So single quotes, and then I put the French. And then, or another condition, or the language is Spanish. So you may see other people may prefer to keep their code this way. Still okay, it's just your choice, your preference of styling. I'm just going to use this. Now you see it's returning both French and Spanish movies. So both conditions are fulfilled and it's returning that. The strange, why does this sound familiar? Just add release here. Just curious, it's a data analyst vibe where you just get curious and you just want to investigate the data to find out more. 1997, definitely not familiar. Okay.
Okay, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something I noticed. When I type Spanish with small letter or French, I don't get any value.
Yeah.
So is it case sensitive?
The data value itself is case sensitive.
Okay, all right.
Because this is French and this is Spanish. I think there's one application I'll show you where you can undo the case sensitive, the sensitivity issue, but not, okay, we're getting there. But for stuff like this one is definitely case sensitive. You have to match it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
I think the same thing applies to the table name. It's just all these keywords, like the keywords. Postgres is going to recognize it. So let's try just the table name. See. Okay, if it's running, okay, that means this part doesn't matter. Yeah, this part doesn't matter. So it's the value itself, the data value that matters.
Okay, that's case sensitive. Okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
we try title, capital letter, and it's running. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, it's just the values. All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, this is important, please, because the temptation is always there. Trust me, when you're typing and you're there in the flow, this temptation comes where you're like, hey, okay, find movies where the language is, okay, look, this USA isn't a language, so I'll correct that. So you want to go with this syntax where you're like, what language you call Spanish, or then you put the other language with French. Yeah, this is invalid. You actually need to specify the column saying or language equal to, not just putting it like this. Okay, cancel that example. Let's still type it again. Or language. Because when you're there, you're coding, you're in the flow. This happens a lot. Language equals Spanish. Then you'll be wondering, what's wrong now? My query looks correct, because it actually looks correct. So if you're pronouncing it, if you're saying it as you're coding, like what language equals Spanish or French, it feels correct, sounds right. So you have that error. You need to specify the column where or language before it runs. So just take note of this. I want you to be aware of this error that can happen. Could happen when you're coding. Okay, so the same thing applies to numbers. What we did was for movies, was for text. So if you want to check the movies that were released in either 1960 or 1963, this is the syntax for it. No quotes. It's an integer, so you just put the number directly. Let me try this. So I'm going to start again so I get used to the code. Find movies. in 2016. I'm changing the year in my case. Something I actually want to check 2016 movies or movies in 2019. So select movie, no, select title. There's no movie column. Select title, release year. So I can confirm the release year from the film stable where the release year is equal to 2016, or I also want to check movies that were released in the year 2019. Can you guess any movie that came out in 2019? Endgame was okay. Batman versus Superman, 2016, Captain America, Deadpool. Let me check 2019. Okay, the database doesn't actually have movies on 2019. So you see, the condition, at least one of the condition must be satisfied. In this case, the condition was 2016. So since there's no movie there in 2019 in this data, didn't show anything. This was a good year. 4 movies came out this year. X-Men, Zoolander 2, Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles, Suicide Squad. Good times. Let's check the other part. Yeah, the AND operator. So for the AND operator, this one, all the conditions must be satisfied before it's like gives you, it's going to give you the criteria where all the conditions are satisfied. In this case, in this example now, your friend wants to find out all the movies that were made in USA and the language they spoke Spanish. So those are the 2 conditions that must be fulfilled. There's nothing like yeah, this one you want to make sure they actually made the movie in USA and the language they spoke was Spanish. Those 2 conditions must be met. If you use all year, or it's just going to give you all the movies where they spoke Spanish, and it's also going to give you all the movies where the country was USA, but not where both of them are true. Like in the country column, we have USA, and in the language column, we have Spanish together. So that's what the AND operator does. Make sure.
Let's explain that again.
What I just said.
Yes.
Actually, okay. I said if you're using the OR operator here, or it's going to just give you all the movies where the language spoken was Spanish, and it's also going to include all the movies where the country is USA, like 2 different parts, whether they spoke Spanish or not. It's going to return all the countries where the movie was made in USA. Then this one, whether the country is USA or Germany, it's just going to return all the values where at least they spoke Spanish. That's if you're using the OR operator. But when it comes to AND, you need to make sure these 2 conditions are fulfilled for a particular movie. So for a particular movie, you need to make sure the language spoken in that movie is Spanish. And at the same time, the country where the movie was made is in the USA before it gives you, that's what it's going to filter it by. So all the conditions must be satisfied. And the best way to see it is by doing it. You have to do it. Find movies, USA, country, and language, Spanish. Let's go. So we want to let's select 3 columns so we will be sure of what we're doing. We want to select the title, we want to select the country, and we want to select the language from the films table where we have our data, and we're going to filter it using the where clause, and the condition is what we're going to put here, where the country is equal to USA, and is the keyword, and the country, sorry, the language is Spanish. We will experiment with this. So you see, just 7 movies meet that condition where the country is USA and the language is Spanish. So these are all the movies that were made in USA where they spoke Spanish. What happens if I change this to all? Let's try. So you see it for yourself. Now, see, all doesn't care, all just make sure at least one of the conditions is satisfied. So in this case, the country is USA. It's satisfying this condition. It doesn't care about the language. So it can be any language, yeah. So you see, no, that's English. Then it's also going to fulfill the condition where the language is Spanish and don't care about the country. So if we keep going down, we will find it. We already have about 3,783 rows in the results. Almost down to the Spanish.
Yeah, I think we'll swing Spanish
Yeah,
and Spain.
Spanish and USA. Okay, so you see this on both the conditions. Okay, Mexico,
Yeah,
I'm saying Spanish
Mexico,
and
Spanish.
Mexico.
Yeah.
So you see, it doesn't matter, just fulfills one of them. So if you want the 2
Another.
conditions to be fulfilled, use the and. Oh, Hebrew, I'm saying Hebrew. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so that's it for the and or. What other example do we have? Okay, so this one we have numbers, working with numbers now. So in this case, I won't say your friend, we've been using your friend too much. Fine, let's still stick with your friend. He wants to see the movies that came out after 1990 and the movies that came out before and equal and also 2000. So this is a range, it's a range. It's going to include, it's going to start by giving you the movies that came out in 1990, then it's going to extend to that. And at the same time, it's like saying, okay, I want the movies that came out in 1990 and greater than that. And at the same time, the movie release year should be less than or equal to 2000. So what this means in simple English is, give me movies that came out between the year 1990 and 2000. That's what this means. Let's run the code. You notice we have the equal to sign here. This equal to sign means include 1990 in the results, because I don't just want to see the movies that came out after the year 1990. I also want you to include 1990 there. And this release year less than, is saying don't just give me movies that came out before 2000. Also include movies that came out in the year 2000. Since we are not using all year, it's just going to give us that range, because if it wants to satisfy this condition of all the movies that came out before 2000, meaning it can start with 1990, 1900, 1901, 1902. But it also has this condition here. Remember, the 2 conditions must be satisfied, this one here and this other one. And this other one is saying it must be above 1990. So in essence, at the end of the day, it's just going to give you a range of 1990 to 2000. So this is logic. And if it's a bit confusing, I understand. That's why if you notice in this slide, you guys didn't notice or understand the meme, Boolean. Yeah, for normal people, this is how normal people feel when it comes to the Boolean data type true, false. Then programmers, they understand what's up without the logic. So it's the same thing with this part here, because what we're doing, basically, what we're looking at is logic. It is logic. Well, we are here. And let's try this. So find movies with release here. And 1990 to 2000. So start this by select title.
Mr. Ini,
Yes.
please, I have a question. Please,
Okay.
my query is taking like forever to load. What could be?
They suggested it's network. Which table are you querying? Is it this films table?
Yes.
Okay, and it's probably a network. But don't worry, it's going to load. Mine took time.
Sorry, mine has actually been giving me syntax error. Sometimes it gives me the correct answer, and sometimes it just shows syntax error, and I'm like, oh.
It's a good thing you get a syntax error. The more errors you get, the better you become. So the syntax error means you're not typing something correctly. And that's why it's giving you syntax. Syntax means that's basically Postgres telling you, hey, I don't understand what you've typed. This is not something that I understand. It's like you're speaking English or speaking French, but you're speaking the wrong thing to someone that understands French. Like, I don't know what you're saying. That's syntax error. So it has to be the syntax.
That thing that I left the class.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. The common error there is always the difference between an underscore and a dash. That is what generates most of that syntax error. Be careful to know the difference.
Okay, so that's one option.
What do you
The
have
dash and underscore. I think another one would be the capitalization, maybe the data value, where they're using maybe small s for Spanish instead of.
What do you have for me now? Tell me. Show the anything for me.
Or it could also be because you're not using single quotes, where you should be using double quotes. So that can cause a syntax error. So if you still having troubles at the end of the class, you can probably share your screen so we'll see the cause of your syntax error. Right, moving on. Fantastic Four is distracting. Let's go on with this query. So select title, release here. We're trying to find, okay, from the films table. We had the release here is greater than or equal to 1990 and release here
less or equal to 200,000.
Yeah, less than or equal to 2,000.
It's not easy to be a man.
Is that SQL?
Yeah.
And then querying it.
Oh my God.
We're going to see an easier way to write the same query, an easier way to write it. So now you can see all the movies that came out between 1990 and 2000.
I have different types.
Like today, did you change it today? When you spoke today, that wasn't what you were putting on that.
Oh, please
Yes,
mute your mic now.
Mute yourself there.
Okay,
Before we start hearing bring 5 apples.
Like those Fantastic Four was distracting. Okay, we're done with this part. So this other one is something you may be doing often, where you have to combine the or operator and the and operator. So this is an example. So we want to filter films that were released in 1991 or 1993. and with certification of either PG or R. So you see, this is somehow complicated, not hard, not like hard, just complicated, a lot of conditions.
It's getting more interesting.
Exactly. So find films with release year. So let's just use our own year, 1991, or we can use 1993. And the certification should be R, or I think let's use approved. So there are multiple conditions here. Let's just start. We'll solve it as we go. So the first thing I want to do is to select the title. Let me just see the title of the movie, then I see the release here. And just to be sure, let's also select the certification so we are sure as our query is returning the right thing. Certification from the films table. Now the condition where. So to make this easier, or to make it easy, let's separate them with parentheses. This is where the parentheses comes in. So the first condition is where the release year. So release year equals 1991, or the release year equals 1993. Then the other condition now, and so giving us certification should either be R or approved. So let's just put the certification criteria inside parentheses, just like we did here with release here. So certification equals, now we use the single quotes because it's a character, it's a text, or see, I almost did the approved stuff directly. That was close. Or certification equals approved. Now, some people may break this down. It's okay to break it this way. Please, you understand your code. So let's go over it again. We want to find out the movies where the release year is 1991 or release year is 1993. So I've done that part. And you also want to find the movies, the certifications of the movies should all either be R or approved. So that's why we're using this and we are placing the other condition in the braces. So it's either R or approved. The thing is, if you don't use the brackets, your result, you could get the wrong result because all of this is logic. If you've ever done logic where you have AND gates, OR gates, NOT gates, NAND gates, where 0, 0 equals 0, 0, 1 equals, then you understand why you're getting some results, some weird results, but we're not doing logic, we're just doing this simple stuff. So I'm going to details of logic. Let's run this and just see what we get. Right, so the condition is the release year should either be 1991. So we can say at least the condition should be 1991 and R, or 1991 and approved, or 1993 and R at the same time, or okay, so 1993 and approved, like that should be it. In this case, we have 1999 and it is R. So it checks. If you have 1991 and approved, it also checks. I don't know if there's approved. That's not approved. Okay, that's not approved. It's approved even one of the key terms. Let me check. Let's use PG. Let's use PG. PG is what the question asks.
Okay, Mr. Ini, sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
What will happen if we do not use the brackets? They just type everything.
We're going to see that. We're going to do it. Let's just do it. So let's take note of this. We have 57 queries. 57 queries. Let's do everything. Let's cause chaos. What just happened? It's like board mass, you know, when you use brackets of this, that, and if you don't use the brackets, different things, multiplication, time, they start doing their thing. Let's see what happens. Yeah. So now you have 749 results. Out of
That's
the last one
chaos.
was 57. This is chaos. Chaos, pure
Yeah.
chaos. Now you're seeing all these other years, 1942. You didn't ask for 1942, but it's not
Okay,
their
okay.
business. So basically, I think this is what it means. Let me bring this. So it's like, okay, the release year should either be 1991 or, in this case, now one of these conditions must be met. Release year 1991 or release year 1993. So it won't care about the certification. Then you now have this and this. Yeah, looking at it like this, it's confusing. It's confusing.
Exactly.
When you now have the braces, the
It's more
parentheses,
organized.
yeah, it's organized. You know, at least one of these conditions should be fulfilled.
Okay.
And this other side, you know, one of these conditions here should be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Let's start from the and. And it doesn't matter. Then the and is now saying whether, let's say this condition is fulfilled, this one is fulfilled, then this other one is fulfilled in one particular instance. Then the and is making sure the table it returns should have both 1993 and R. As in this case, should have 1993 and R. Let's query the correct thing. So it's saying it should have 1993 and R. But in another instance now, the one where the condition could hold true in this bracket here could be 1991. And let's say the condition where this one holds true is certification equals to R. Now this and statement saying the table should have both 1991 and R, and you can see it here, there's 1991 and R, both of them should be there. Another condition, you're saying the different combinations that could occur, could also be 1991 that is true in this place. And then this other one could also be certification PG. And the and is now like, okay, let it now be both 1991 and PG. I said PG. So you now have a case where you have 1991 and PG and it's valid. But that's just it. Or if it's too complicated, just understand the logic there. Like, oh, there's a logic, and this is why it's important to use brackets. If I should use oh yeah, the whole condition, everything will change. Everything is going to change. You're just going to focus on at least the movie should have 1991 in release year, or it should have 1993, or it should have certification as R, or it should have certification as PG. We have 57 queries there, 57 rows rather. Now we have 2000. No, what? Never mind. Never mind. So that 2,841. Let's stick with the and. Let's check the next part. There's the code. So there's the code to do it. And we've already done it. Yeah, the next keyword is between. Remember this example we did where we had greater than equal to this. This is one long query. It could be confusing sometimes. So to save time, you could just use the keyword between clause. Between is going to filter data within a range. So you have a specific range. You just say, okay, give me all the movies that came out between, see the English is flowing there, between the year 2000 and 2010. Maybe you want to see movies that came out in the 21st century or that first decade, 2000 and 2010, then use between rather than doing all this greater than equal to and release year less than equal to. Between makes this process easier. So in our case, we want to see the movies released between 1990 and stuff. Yeah, I don't want to see that. Let me see movies that came out between 2000 and 2010. Reference 5. That shows a different example between 2000, 2010. I don't know if there's 2020, but let's just put 2020 and see what happens. So just playing around with data, testing out stuff. Select title, release year, just to be sure. From the films table, where the release year between, then you just put the range between 2010 and 2020. There's nothing like between 2010 or between, just between this and this. Normal English between you and between 2010, 2022 or 2020. Alice in Wonderland. Okay. Let check where the data actually stops. 2024. Edge of Tomorrow. Good movie. Giving people free movie recommendations if they haven't seen. Suicide Squad. Okay, yeah, this data stops at 2016. Okay, that's fine. Stops at 2016. That is for between. So thing about between is these values here specifying here, they are going to be inclusive. They're also going to be in your results. So it's not going to be something that I have to tell you between 1991 and 2000 and 1999. It's going to also include the 1990, the range you're specifying 1990 and the range 2000. Okay, this is good.
So let me ask, so if we are to get the value for just, that's excluding the 1990 and 2000, we just use less than greater than 1990, less than
in this place,
2000. Right?
In this place?
Yes.
No, if you want to do it here, this is where you actually have to do your own. Let's use the 1990. Go on, your question.
The question is, if we don't want the 2010, or sorry, you can use the former example that already existed. If we don't want the 2010 and 2020 to appear, we just want the figures in between. You know,
okay. You don't want this to be inclusive.
Between. We don't want inclusive good. The 2010 and
you don't want them to be included. You want them to be excluded.
Yes. So, is it only the greater than and less than signs we can use? Is there any other language like we have between?
In this, in between, when you're using between, you're not adding any greater than or less than sign. So in that case, it's up to you now to now say, okay, I know that 2010 is going to be inclusive, which means I don't want 2010 to be inclusive. So you have to personally change it to 2011 year. And in this case, you have to change it to 2019. So you know that 2011 to 2019 is what you'll get, since you do not want 2010 and 2020. If it was
what if you use greater than sign, greater than 2010 and less than 2020?
Yes, in that case now, that's where you use just greater than 2010. So this is not greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to is going to include 2010, but you just want greater than. So anything after 2010, and this one you have to specify the column here and release here. Release here less than 2020. So this will give you from 2011 to 2019. So I'm saying starting from 2011.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ignores 2010.
Hello, please, I need your help.
Yes,
Mr. Ini.
Yeah.
Mine is showing
query returned successfully in 108 milliseconds. It's been giving me that kind of response.
Same thing with me. I'm starting with it since, as in.
Let's see.
Instead of showing that data output, it's showing query return successfully in the milliseconds or whatever.
You have to change it to in the messages tab. So this is what you're getting, messages tab. So you have to come to data output to see the data output.
Yes, even when I click on data output, it's still not showing anything.
Not showing anything. And it's not even running any query again. Like just.
Okay, let's see if we can share your screen.
Okay, well, why not just restart the query tool? Restart it and type the query again.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing so you can share your screen. Are you still there?
Yes.
Mr. Ini.
Yeah.
Some people are disrupting the class. We couldn't hear you very well. I don't know who is using device that is disturbing us.
Mute all.
Maybe you should unmute everybody.
Okay, it's working now.
Anybody that wants to talk should just raise his or her hand.
Hello, Mr. Ini.
Yeah.
Okay, so I ran the query tool again and it's working now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me proceed. You're welcome. Okay, so for this one, the data set doesn't reach the year 2020. It just stops at 2016. So 2016 is still less than 2020. Condition is true. Let's see the next part. Okay, so this is about I was saying you can combine your queries, you can combine the operators between and or depending on what you want to find out from your data sets. In this instance, yes. Yeah. Okay. Try a question. Okay, not the question.
Please, can we mute our mic after asking questions so that I will not get background noises? No.
So just going to mute all. Now, in this part, you can combine all the operators, those operators you blend the and or between together, and it depends on what you want to find out. Then to be up to you, like, okay, yeah, let me combine this. So in this example, you want to get all the movies that were released between 1990 and 2000 from Germany. From Germany, you want to find out. So there's a long way of doing this. If you want to use the release year equals 1990 or release year equals this, and let's just use this between. So starting again, release year between 1990 and 2000 from Germany. So I want to select the title, the release year from the films table, year, release year. Now it's easier to just say release year between 1990 and 2000 rather than using the release year equals 1990 complicated. So just use release year between. It's a range, which makes it easy. Between 1990 and 2000. Then you can break it, maybe put another line here. And so the other condition is the country should be Germany. So Germany is a text, and I'm going to use single quotes. So this is actually easier to, it's easy to read it this way. If I put it here, you'll be having and it looks confusing. If I break it down, it's easy to read. Now let's add country. So we say we'll be sure of the query. So the condition must be satisfied is a movie should be between this release year and the country should be Germany. So the movie can be 1990 and Germany, 1998 in Germany, and we have just 16 values. Okay, so just from 1998 to 2000. That's fine. We could add another condition saying or. Let's just combine all the three. Or country equals Mexico. Let's just use Mexico for something. Yes. Now in this case, it's just going to be better to use the brackets so you don't get confused. Like put the country together in these brackets. Now it's better, it's easier to read. Now I'm running this. Now we have more results. Mexico, only 1 or 2.
Christine, can I ask?
Yes.
Now that at this point, now I'm going back to the same you wrote now, line 5. We were able to do and country equal to Germany or country Mexico. Well understood. But you can't add another line saying and again as an operator, right? You can't do that.
You can.
I mean line 6. Suppose you want to add another condition, you cannot start with another and, can it?
Yeah, you can. You can start another condition, but make sure.
No, like try adding say and language probably, and language equal to Spanish. Let's see. Will it work?
Yeah, sure. Language. What let's speak there. If it is Spanish, then if it doesn't show results, it means none of those countries they don't speak Spanish. None of the movies is in Spanish.
Okay.
So if you don't get any outputs, but in this one you're having an output, meaning the ones in Mexico they spoke Spanish. But if you're adding another condition, make sure the semicolon is after it. If I put it this way now, we'll get a syntax error. So it's a syntax error here. So you have to make sure this is the last thing.
Last condition. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, Mr. Ini. I want to confirm that the longer the condition, does it require we use parentheses, the brackets? Because the first one you did before this last one that you add the 6th line, I didn't put brackets and I got about 33 rows. Then when I inserted the brackets, I got 18 rows like you got. Yeah, so I just want to confirm, when the conditions are longer, we have to use brackets so that the answers will be accurate.
Yes, that's the point I was trying to make in this slide. Go back. Yes, this slide there. When we have many rules, if the rules are many, then it's better to just put them in brackets because the computer will know the right order. Because if everything is there together, the computer may be executing it in the wrong order, but it's still going to be correct, but it's going to be in the wrong order to follow. And you may get another answer, which is not what you want. So in order to get it to flow, just put it in brackets. It's like board mass where you have brackets of. So the first thing that executes is the brackets in board mass where you have maybe 2 plus 3 in brackets times 4 plus 1. So you know the values in the brackets will be calculated first in that order. So same thing applies here. That's why we just put this in the bracket so the computer will know the order. And same thing with the recent query.
Sorry, Mr. Ini.
So
I think I have to share my screen now because have not been able to get it. It's always syntax error. Like all the theory we've tried, I've tried it and same thing.
Okay, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Oh, who's disabled participant screen sharing?
Check security, share screen. Yeah, you can try again.
Okay. Okay, yes. Where is it? Can you see my screen now?
It's loading. Okay, yeah, you can see your screen.
Okay.
So you're using the dash. That's supposed to be equal to not dash or hyphen rather in line 5.
Aside from line 5.
And country hyphen Germany should be equal to not.
Yeah, okay, the operator there is wrong. Should be equals to dots minus.
Try
Okay, here's what you should do. Just close this and open it again. So go to any data and close this panel. You have to, no, on the right-hand side, the right side.
Okay.
Yeah, up. No, not from there. Just go to the any data itself, the tab.
Okay.
You didn't add country in
The other one
the
up.
number. You didn't add country. That is why it is not bringing out the country. From the select, he didn't include country.
Oh no, you don't have to include country in the select statement. You don't have to include the country in the select statement before it runs.
Even while this thing is on messages instead of data output.
Even with the data output, I checked it. It's still
Then
not
I want you
bringing.
to wait. Okay, go to data output. Just click on data output first. But the problem is just have to restart your query too.
Yeah, I think that's what I want.
Okay, yeah, you have to go to the data output because the messages could be showing the last error message. But just click on data output. Let's be sure.
It's not even okay. Do you want to save? Should I save on?
Cancel it.
Okay. Let me stop sharing. It's just taking me a lot of time.
Okay. So I can see the total rows showing down as 1,000 out of 3,750, which means the query ran. So what you just need to do is go to the data output to view it, to view the results.
Okay, thank you. Let me
You're
stop
welcome.
sharing.
I'm going to continue sharing. So, yeah, like you said, if you leave it this way, you're going to get the confusing results because the computer won't know which one to run first, the order. So you have and country or country Germany, so it's somehow confusing. Let's just try this without the brackets. So here's one of the stuff you have to be careful with. hence the name of Boolean. Now we have 33 results. Let me try the process again just to be sure. Now the computer will know the order to run it. 18. So this is just one part you have to be careful with. It can mess up your query results, your analysis results. You're thinking you're getting the right results, but because it's not returning an error, you just think, yeah, your query result is okay because you followed all the rules. So be careful here. If it's too complicated, if it's too long, use brackets. And the next part, oh yeah, exercise. Exercise.
When do we know when to brackets? We can put a bracket anywhere. Is there any specific place we can put a bracket?
Good question. Think about this. You can see this other part of the query is related to the same column, the same value. It's related to country, related to country. So it's like saying where the country is either Germany or the country is from Mexico. So you just group the country together. Saying, okay, let me group all the country in one condition. The best way to explain your question is the previous one we had. This is perfect. You can see this question now. Filter the films released in 1991 or 1993. They now have and with a certification of either PG or R. So what you're doing here is all the releases here, you group them together as one. So you put that in a bracket. So the first condition, you just separate it. This is the condition, the release here is 1991 or the release here is 1993. That's one condition on its own and close it in the bracket. Then you now have and is not like the middleman. Then there's now another condition there. Certification is either PG or R. So certification is another condition on its own. Then both of them are linked by the and statement where you have this. So you can say yes, the release here, the group release here together, and you have certification, just group the certification together. This is how to use the brackets. Another way is just imagining the board mass thing, where you have the normal maths and board mass calculation, where you have brackets. So, do you understand? Right. Let's move on to exercise. Cool. So, oh wow, that's a little better. So we get to do this. Let's do it. So the first one is select the title release here for German language films released before 2000. Let me clear this. Movies, German language, those are the ones. German language films. And the columns want us to select title and release here. So how do we go about this? Anyone can volunteer. Title release here for all German language films before 2000. So just like yesterday, let's do this. I'll type it to just tell me what to
select
type.
title.
Let's
go select title.
Title.
Let's just stop at title from film.
From Film.
From films.
Okay.
Where country equal to Germany?
Germany. Did you say Germany?
Yeah, Germany. That's country. That's what it's here.
Let's do this.
Okay, language. Sorry, the question here is language. So it's language. Where language? Oh no. From the question here, what they're asking us is language. Where language come?
Yeah, where the languages.
And then use the operator
and
the one language is Germany and
less than 2000.
Less than.
Sorry, release year.
Release year.
1000.
Is anything else?
Don't run it here, please. There's a mistake there. Look at that. It's German, not Germany. It should be German. That's language, not country.
Okay, German. Anything else?
Yes.
Question.
No, I think I should run. Yes.
Can we see the question again? Because it says before 2000 and after 2010. Released.
That's
Okay.
question one. We're doing question one. So I'll go to the question again to be sure.
We can now.
Select the title.
Yeah, it does run.
Select title and release year.
Yeah. So release year is what's missing.
So we'll not add release year. Yeah.
Select title and release year.
Lead underscore, yeah. Okay.
Right, so this is it. The release year is less than 2000. This matches and the language. Well, all right, so we're done with one. Let's check. Yes. I don't know if it's my network or your network or your voice is cracking.
I said, can we also select
Yes,
select
please, let's add language.
Good call to be sure of what you do. Awesome. German. So we're good to go.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, what's your question?
Okay, the last lady that shared her screen, for the select part, she did not include in country also, and he said it's not to include country. But now we are selecting all the column header now. I thought there was no need selecting all those three, since the previous one he said there's no need to select country when she shared her screen.
Yeah, in that case, someone said maybe she's getting the error because she didn't add the country in the select statement. So I said that won't give you an error. The select statement will just include what you want, the columns you want to see in the output. It's still going to match all these conditions, even if you don't see it. So we're just adding the release year and the language now to make sure this condition is met. We just want to confirm, like, we just added the language and now we confirm that all the languages here are German. If we remove it, it's not going to affect, like, it's not going to give us an error or anything. In fact, sometimes you may just want to see the title, only the title of the movies that meets this condition. So adding the release here and the language is just for us to be sure. You want to be sure, oh yes, this stuff actually meets this condition where the release here is less than, because everything here is less than. and where the language is German. But not adding it won't affect the results.
I
It's important to
understand.
see. Yeah. Okay. So we can move on to question 2. The question says select all details for German language films. So all details for German language films released after 2000, but before 2010, using only where and. So you can't use any other thing besides the where and statements. So like, can we try this German language? Let me write the details here.
Wanted to understand the question before you.
I want to add it here. Find, select all details. Details of German language films. Yeah, between from released after 2000 but before. So released. This one is a bit specific. Released after 2000, but before 2010, using only yeah and. So this is it. But we want to be sure, let's look at it. They're asking us to select all details for German language films released after 2000, but before 2010, using only where and. No pressure. Ready when you're ready.
I'm confused about the all details.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to be confused.
Let's give it a try. Select.
Star.
Yes, select.
Select star. Because it's saying all details, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's saying all details. So select the
No.
asterisks. Okay, now.
I think you're correct. Star should be there.
Wait.
Select star.
Yeah, star.
All details. So if it's all details, it has to be star now.
Star. You're correct.
Okay, so select star.
Star from film. From films.
All right.
Where language.
Language.
Equal to German, but now you need to put the language in bracket because it's multiple parameters.
German.
Where language equal to German.
Okay.
And
release year.
Yeah.
Release. Yeah.
Release year.
Less than
No.
Greater than 2000.
Greater than 2000. Release year greater than 2000.
Less than
and less than.
Release year greater than 2000.
Less than.
And again. Release year less than 2010.
Less than 2010.
2010. But like I said, you need to put language in brackets, language up to where Germany is in bracket, then release the other one in bracket so that
so you may do something like this.
Yes, bracket.
All right. So are we good to go?
The second condition in bracket.
German should be with
then your semicolon.
Yeah. German in quotes.
put a semicolon at the end. Let's see. A semicolon.
About a semicolon at the end. So you said German
okay, let's see. Yeah. Okay, try and run it. Let's see if we can have a result.
Okay. Okay, this is our results. Language,
we have
everything.
those to give us a certificate.
It's giving us what?
Yeah, I was just joking. I said we've graduated certificates.
Okay, this is good. 9 results. Awesome. Release year, released after 2000, but before 2010, using we and only. We and nice, cool. And I love that we actually added the brackets, grouping the release year together. I think this one too, really good. But I think it's still going to run here, whether you add or don't add the release, whether I add or remove the brackets. Well, let's check. Well, it's better to be safe by adding the brackets. So well, I love the idea. So 9, still correct. So great job here. Love the collaboration. Now the number 3. Are you ready for 3? 3 as children, ABC. ABC. From ABC. Let's see this. Can we start? Some of different parts. So let's take it step by step. The first part is to select the title and release year for films released in 1990 or 1999 using only year and or. Select title, release year. Released in 1990 or 1999 using only year and or. Right. You're good to go. So what do we do? How do we handle this? Select
title, comma, release year.
Okay.
From films.
Films. Done. Then what next?
Where release year is equal to 1990.
Or
1999.
Okay, are we good to go?
Yes,
Awesome.
No, you have to put 1990.
Okay, the semicolon.
No, it's not semicolon. You also need to put release year.
Release year for 1999 as well.
Okay.
After or release year.
Probably the bracket.
Yeah. Doesn't the bracket equals to?
Equals to.
Run it. You can run it now.
Okay, so we have the
Mute your
Python
mic.
release 1990 and all 1999. Okay, this is good, really good. Thing is, in this case, the statement is simple, so you don't need brackets because it's straightforward. So you don't need to put brackets. Now there's the B parts. Let's check the B parts. So now to the query before, we have to include a filter to the code above to only include English or Spanish film. So now we are supposed to add another filter to only include English or Spanish movies. Okay, so what do we do? I mean, add comments. Filter only Spanish or what? English movies. So how do we add this filter?
Can we do and after that and language?
You can't do and because the instruction says use only where or and or.
Oh, no, that's for the first one.
3A.
It is a continuation.
Okay.
It's continuation.
Okay, doesn't cover this 3B.
No, this condition where and or was just for this first section. So we're done with that. We're in the next section, which is to add code to what we did before.
Then we can use an and now.
Yeah.
Let's go back. Let's go back.
Language equals to or Spanish.
Or language equal to Spanish.
Language.
I think after the and there should be a bracket because of the or.
I don't think it's necessary.
Or
so
language equal to English.
Yeah.
Proceed. Yeah, you're correct. Language.
This all part should be in brackets.
So are we could the sound is saying all parts should be in brackets.
Yeah, the all part after and.
From language
after and the second line after and language, yeah, they close it.
I think
hold on, we've terminated our query with the semicolon up, so have to remove it.
Okay, let's remove this. Good call.
Yes. I hope the comment part won't affect
to
it.
the next line, to the last line.
Yeah, second to the line.
Thanks. So are we good to go?
Yeah.
I hope the comment
Can I
affect
ask? Since it's okay,
I was
just going to say we put the first one in bracket as well.
You want to put the first one in brackets? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
All right, let's. Is there anything else? Or should I go ahead and run it?
We are good to go. We are good to go.
Run it, let's see.
Awesome.
Run it.
Okay, so 1990. We can't confirm the movie, the language. So let's just add language to confirm.
Language to the English.
Right, so we're saying release here either 1990 or whether in the language English. Checks out so far. No Spanish. All right, good call. All right, we're good to go.
Yeah.
So
it still meets the criteria.
So
criteria is met. I think there's no movie that is in Spanish that actually
Spanish.
fits this.
Yeah, that's right.
But to confirm, let's remove the English parts.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, what's your question?
We for that number 2, we added the filter only Spanish or English in between. What we had not removed it, would we have had any issues or does it?
Okay, the comments.
Yes.
No issue. SQL is going to ignore the comments line. I just moved it up so it will be easier to read the code. But if you want to include it, it's okay, because you're just commenting on what you're doing in that particular line. So in this part now, you want your users to know, oh, this is what you're doing in this line. You want to filter with Spanish and English. So now in this case, you see there's no language, that Spanish condition. There's no movie that was released in 1990 or 1999 where they spoke Spanish. That's why it's empty. So if you have the English back, that's why everything is in English.
Please let me ask. Can you say how you had where release year 1990 or release year 1999? Can we go to the next line and say where language Spanish or language English instead of using and? That's put another where. Will it
No,
work?
we can't do that.
Okay.
No. Think of it like all of this, it's one line. It's still one line just because we're separating it. That's why I'm not putting it at this point. Even though if I put it at this point, it's going to run from adding this tab, this indentation. So you get the idea that everything is still under this where clause. I think of it, maybe it's still under the same line here. But I'm breaking it so it will be easier to read.
Okay, I think he's asking if you can use where more than once.
No,
just
that's
like,
what I'm saying. It's just one line.
So all those measure the same. Select from, you can't use them more than once in a particular. Okay.
So let's see the C parts of the question. So now we're supposed to add another filter to the code we've gotten already that is going to restrict the query to only films worth more than $2 million in gross amount. So we just want movies that are worth more over $2 million in gross. That's the final filter. So how do we go about that?
So
any ideas?
For the last question, specific to any language, to any country, or what?
Let's look at it again. We've already gotten the first two. Now they just want us to add another filter to the code that is going to restrict the query. We've gotten queries already, but now they want to now filter the queries to get movies that are worth more in gross amounts. In gross is like the profits, maybe movies that made over $2 million in profits.
Okay.
We'll just add to the already written
gross
code.
Greater than $2 million.
$2 million, exactly. Then before we need to include gross in our columns, so fields we are selecting.
Okay. So is this what I'm doing now and gross?
You have to remove the semicolon first.
Gross greater than $2 million. Then you include the gross table from the select. Add the gross table.
Is this okay?
I think there's a problem there. That's 2 million. I think it's the data type is numbers, right? So you're typing it as if it's a text. If at all it's a text, it should be in parentheses. But since it's not, just type the numbers without comma.
Okay. So like this.
Exactly.
Right. So we good to go.
Then put in bracket.
Then semicolon.
You include gross.
Include the gross table from the select.
Select, include gross in the select.
After language, comma.
Yeah, comma.
Right. So I guess I'm good to go. Running. Yeah, running. All right. So 1990 English gross. Single is greater than 2 million. Registered one is 53 million. No, 53. Yeah, 53 million. $168 gross. All right, so we're good to go. And that's it for filtering numbers and text. So the next part is just filtering text. Filtering text. Let's see where do I have to stop. Okay. Let's do this part. So filtering text, we looked at filtering text, but when we're filtering the text, this was the condition. This was what we're doing, filtering text, so we're just using single quotes and country. Now, other ways of filtering text exist. For instance, if you want to find a particular pattern in your text, there's what is known as like and I like. Let me bring this here. So there's like and I like keyword. If you want to find specific patterns in your text, you don't just want to find the text. All we're doing, we're finding text exactly like this other one. We're looking for Spanish as it is exactly. We're looking for English. Or if you don't want to look for English, you don't want to look for Spanish, you just want to look for a pattern. That's where the like and I like comes in. And these two commands, they work by using what we call wildcards. We've already looked at wildcards. The first wildcard we saw was the asterisk in the select statements, where you use the asterisk to select all the columns. So there are other wildcards specifically to these two clauses. We have percentage and underscore. So like is for SQL. SQL generally uses this keyword like, but I like is specific to only Postgres. Only Postgres uses I like. And someone asked something about the values being case sensitive. So the like operator is case sensitive, but I like is case insensitive. That's what the I means. So insensitive like anyway. And it's only specific to Postgres, because if you want to search for a particular pattern, maybe you want to search for someone's name in a database, you just know what the person's name starts with. You know, okay, this person's name starts with A. And I want to find all the people whose name starts with A. How do I go about it? That's where this like comes in. So you use a pattern to search your database for the names that start with A. I'm going to show you how to do this, but just remember, like and I like, they are doing the same thing. The only difference is like is case sensitive, then I like is not case sensitive. And I like is only specific to the Postgres database. If you go to other database management software like MySQL, they don't use I like. This one just specific to Postgres. Now let's look for an example.
I will always use.
Yeah, you always use what?
I like.
Yeah, good. So this I like is something I learned.
It's getting sensitive.
Yeah, this I like is something I learned recently, because all my years of doing SQL, I've never come across I like. It's usually like I use. And then I was reading a book and they mentioned I like, and I'm like, wait, this I like is not actually popular. Why haven't I heard of it before? I realized it's just specific to Postgres, and you may not find people mention I like a lot. And just like you said, you'll be using I like, makes sense because you don't want to limit your result because you're the one making a mistake by putting a case sensitive letter. In this case now, you're putting capital B. What if the name in the database is stored as small letter b? Then you know you have a problem. So you can use I like and use like. I just want you to know the difference. So this example now, you're trying to find people whose name starts with B-E-R. B-E-R, that's the condition. That's what you want to find. My name starts with B-E-R. Maybe it could be Bernard, it could be Burial. Okay, or anything like that. And that's what you're trying to find. And see, notice this wildcard. Wildcard we're using as percentage. I didn't explain that part. So the percentage means it could match one or more characters, meaning there could be any number of characters after the percentage. You don't know, maybe one character there or any number of characters. So in this case, you could have something like B-E-R-D, maybe just one letter, or you could have a series of characters after it, but you're not sure. You're just using the percentage sign to show, okay, at this point, I just want to find the name that starts with B-E-R. Then there could be any number of characters after that. I don't care, just focus on the B-E-R. But the underscore just means one character, only one character. So if you're using the underscore here, if you use underscore here instead of percentage sign, that means you're looking for a four-letter word, four-letter name, a name that has 4 characters, only 4. And you know the first 3 characters will be B-E-R, and it's going to end with any other character, but it should be just one character. But if you're using percentage sign as your wildcard, it means it could be one character or more characters after the B-E-R. Best way to do this is to just start. Let's type something. So clearing all of this. Search B-E-R, name that starts with B-E-R. So we're using the people table. So we're going to do select name. Name is a column in the people table. From the table is people. And then we're using our filtering. So when you're filtering, you're using where. And then we have the keyword where name, putting the name where the name like. So why the name is like, we just put like, then in quotes, since we're using double single quotes, B-E-R, then percentage sign. Now let's run this, then we'll see the difference later. All right. So that is the part that I love, because if you're working with description, maybe you have a column in your database, in your table, and it's description, maybe they are talking about a movie description. You want to find out if there's a particular word that they put in that description. You can use this to match the character to find the pattern. Now look at this result. After BER, we can have any number of characters, any number of letters there. After it, that's what percentage sign is for. So you can see we found the pattern of BER. We have Ben Cohen, Bernard Cribbins, Bernard Fox. This top, okay, only 12. Benny, Mark, Benny Sanders. If I'm now using just the underscore means only one character can be there in that position. I don't think we'll find anything that fits that exactly. Yeah, nothing fits that. Because there's no name that starts with BR, then only has 4 characters. So in this case, we're searching for this pattern. Now let's look at another example. Oh no, yeah, let's do the I like. So the I like, I try this first. I like is case insensitive, so it doesn't matter. let me use the like first and show an example. Since like is case sensitive, what if I make this small letter B? It returns nothing. And then we'll start thinking, oh, that means there's nobody's name starts with BER. Meanwhile, it's just because we were searching with small letter B. But if we still use I like, that is case insensitive, it won't bother whether it's capital letter or small letter for all the characters to still give us everything that matches that condition. So if they're using Postgres, you can just stick to I like, so you don't make mistakes like this. Okay, so another example, let's use this example where we're trying to find the name EV, then underscore. Okay, for this. EV underscore. So this means the name must be 3 characters and it must start with E and V. Then any other character there, it doesn't matter. We just want to find EV as the first 2 letters. And we have one name that matches it, and see, it's exactly 3 characters. However, I use percentage sign, it would give me 3 or more. Yeah, 3 or more. So this one's, so this is the other one that we got only 3 characters. The rest are, there are more. But if you're looking for just 3 characters, that's where the underscore comes in. So that's the difference between these 2 wildcards, the underscore and the percentage sign. Let's go back. Okay, so we've seen the 2 wildcards in use. Then there's another phrase which is not like. We've seen like, so there's not like. So if you're trying to find people whose name doesn't match a particular pattern, then you use not like. In this example, you are trying to find people whose name doesn't end with RY. So you're just focusing on the last part of the name, RY. If your name doesn't end with RY, we want to find you. And let's see this. Now, this condition is different. This part. Let's first of all find people whose name ends with RY. You notice now this operator percentage comes in front, meaning we can have any number of characters in front before the R and Y. That's why it's there. So these are the names of people with RY at the end. So if we do not want to find, if we want to exclude all these people from our list, we can use not like. So it's going to give us all the names that doesn't match this pattern. Okay, so we want to find names that do not match this pattern. It's going to give us all the names that do not end with RY. So this is every other thing. Again, you can use the not I like if you want to case sensitive. So now I can even use capital letters. It won't care. It won't care because it's case insensitive. Still gives us the same thing. So that's like and not like. So this part, specifically for this example, I just wanted us to see the different ways we can manipulate these wildcards using dash and the percentage sign. In this particular example, we want to find people who have the letter Y in their name, whose name has the letter Y as the 3rd letter. So does your name have Y as the third letter? How do we find that out? So first, you can use the underscore 2 times to specify that, okay, this first letter can be anything, second letter can be anything, then we want the third letter to be Y, then we don't care about the rest. It can be any number of characters after the Y. So you're focusing on the third letter
Can you
Y.
please repeat what you just said?
Yeah, can. So in this example, I just want you to understand how you can manipulate the different wildcards to get the particular result you're looking for. In this example now, you're trying to find people whose name has Y, the letter Y as the third letter. Plus in your name, maybe a name like Brian, B-R-Y. Y is the third letter in that name. So I want to find all the names that have Y as the third letter. So to do that, it's smart to actually use underscore. So this actually means 2 underscores just because it's in a slide like this, so it's looking like one long dash. So these are 2 underscores. The first underscore is representing the first letter, and the first letter can be anything.
I was going to ask you, is it that is a dash? But
it's 2 underscores. It's just looking like dash here because of the font. So the first letter can be anything, so we underscore to represent it. Second letter can be anything, and then we now put in Y because that's what we are trying to find. We're trying to find the pattern where the name has Y as the third letter. And then we use percentage sign at the end to show that you can have any number of characters after this. We don't care. We're just focusing on the first 3. We just want this third letter to be Y. Best way to see this is to actually do it. Let me use the I like since it's case insensitive. Now I want to find people whose name have Y as the third character. So I start with the first underscore, second underscore, and then I use Y to show that's the third letter. Then I'm using percentage sign, meaning the other names can be any number of character, any length of character, even if it's just one character, it doesn't matter. My main focus is the Y should be the third letter. So let's run this. So the goal here is just to see how you can mix the 2 wildcards, the underscore and percentage sign, to achieve your goal. Now see the pattern here. It doesn't care about the first and second letter. It's just focusing on the Y. First and second letter can be anything. That's why we use underscore. So see, the third character is Y. And then we specified here that after the Y, you can have any number of characters after it. So you see the number of characters here is different than this. As long as the third letter is Y, that's what we're after. And that's returned to us that this pattern, the pattern where people's name have Y as the third letter. Crystal, Dana, Dayo, Faye, Guy, Haley, all have Y as the third letter. So this is one way you can work with your text data.
Me, I only got 42 rows and you have like 150 something.
42 rows. What did you use these 2 underscore exactly, then percentage sign?
Oh, I didn't. I did something else. I see now.
Okay. So any question about this part before we move on to the next part? Okay. And the next part is just something that will make your life easy. And that is the in operator. So the in operator it lets us find many values. So it's easier than using the multiple or. Let me go back to the or where we're using plenty or. something like this now. You have release year equals 1960 or 1963. So what if I have like 5 release year that I want to check out? I want 1960, 1970, 1980, 1990. Will I keep writing all of them this way? Release year equals 1960 or release year equals 1970. See, it gets really long. So to fix that problem, we have this operator. And this is the syntax. So this is the example. Example, find movies released in 1970, 1980, 1990, 2000, 4 years. One way we can do that is by using a lot of release year and or statements. So release year equals this or release year equals that, or it all goes on. Another option would be this simple alternative where you can use the in operator. Then you put in brackets all the years you are looking for. So if the release year happens to be in any of these, then it's going to return the outputs rather than you putting it this way. If you put it this way, it's still going to work. Your code is going to run, but it's going to be stressful to be typing this over and over again. If you just put all the values you're expecting in brackets, and it's going to find it for you. Same thing applies to strings, not just numbers. Oh, I made a mistake here. It's not supposed to be released yet. It's supposed to be country. Let me change this. Let me edit this slide. Oh, exercise, don't worry. Let's solve this first. So find movies from 1990, 2000, 2005, 2010. Let's add 1995 to the list, breaking it every 5 years. Yes. So to do this, you start with select. Let's use title. Let's also use release here so we can confirm. From the table films, reduce screen brightness. From the table films, so we are filtering now, and the release here should be in, just going to copy all of this. So the release here should be there, either 1990 or 1995 or 2000 or 2005 or 2010. It's way easier than writing all the ors. Release year equal 1999 or release year equal 1995, 2000, 2005, 2010. Then see the results. 1990, 1995, 2000, 2005, and finally 2010. So that's the in statement. Let's also try this for strings. Let's find the countries. Any country that is there we haven't looked at. Things like Mexico, USA. I don't know all the unique countries there. In fact, let's find all the unique countries in our data sets first. I'm just doing it so we actually practice what we learned before, distinct country. It's a good way to practice. And these are the countries. We have Italy, we have Sweden, Canada. Let's use those ones. Italy, let's just Cameroon. It's Nigeria here. Try. Yeah, let's just Cameroon. So let's select from. No, I'm not taking. Cameroon. Let's use Italy. Let's also see Sweden. Wait, there's Canada somewhere. Ah, Canada. So we want to find all the movies from this country. So select title. I also use country to confirm. And we filter to include just this country, where country in, open the brackets and passing all the countries you want to filter by. Then we're good to go. Yes, so Italy, Canada, Sweden, where's Cameroon? I want to see the Cameroon movie. Sisters-in-law. Let's check the year. Two 2005, sister-in-law. Okay, so that's how you can use the in to help you filter multiple values easily.
That's good.
So exercise, then we can actually stop here.
Oh.
Then next class, it starts from sorting data. Don't want to give you guys too much, so let's just do the exercise. So first one is to select the names of all people whose name begin with B. And the hint is to use the people table. So find names that start with B. That's how do we go about this? Remember, the hint is we're using the people table and the column is actually name.
Okay.
Ready when you are.
All right. I was selecting everything. So select all from people where name I like.
Okay, you're focusing on just the names. Select names.
Okay, just names.
Select.
Okay.
Select.
Okay.
Select name.
Select name.
From people.
From people.
Where name.
Where name.
I like.
I like.
Then in quotes, B. Then you can put either percentage or the underscore.
If you had to pick one of those, which one would you pick?
Just the percentage.
Not
Okay.
really when it's just
put the percentage in.
Percentage.
Well, I need you to know when to apply percentage and when to apply underscore.
Percentage for now, because we are not looking at the position of the alphabet.
Okay. Yeah, am I good to run it? Or is there anything you want to change?
That's good.
Okay. All right, so this gives us all the names that starts with B. If it's underscore you use, underscore is if it's only 2 characters, if the name has 2 letters only, and the first letter is B, and the second letter can be anything but 2 letters, while percentage sign can be 1 or more. So there's no name that has 2 letters. All right, let's see the second exercise. Select the names of people whose name have R as the second letter. So have R as the second letter.
I think we can just use this again and edit.
Yeah, but for your sake, I'm going to stress you, so you start again.
Start from the beginning.
It's just so you can build muscle memory and get used to SQL queries.
Exactly.
Select name.
Select name.
From people.
From people.
Where name I like. Then in bracket, in that quote, you have to put the underscore.
Underscore.
R.
R.
And then percentage.
Percentage. We're good. So I'm running.
Semicolon. Put the colon.
It will still run.
All right. So the names have R as second letter. Ariana Grande. Ariana Neil. Okay. Let's see the last one. Also, select the names of people whose names don't start with A. So name doesn't start with A. Find names that starts with A. So we want to find names that do not start with A. What do we do?
Select name.
Select names.
Select name.
From people.
From people.
People.
Where name not like.
Not I like, I think.
No, not like. Not like. Not I like. Not like.
It's still same.
Okay.
In the quotes.
You say okay in quotes.
No. The
In
percentage.
In.
No, not in. Like
single quotes, single
yes.
quotes.
Single quotes. Okay.
A.
Now, wow.
Percentage. Are we good?
Yeah.
I can run it.
All right. And so people whose name doesn't start with A. So these ones here, they are weird characters, not A. They're not actually A, just a weird character like A, but has something on top. Special names. And so give us everything except names that start with A. So that's it for now. And we're good to go. So from the next class, we're going to start with sorting data, how to sort data, order by. That's it. But it's too long. I'm supposed to cover this today, but I don't want to.
Thank you.
Oh,
we don't
before you
try,
start
beg.
dreaming
Thank
of
you.
before you start dreaming of filtering and order by. So
Yeah,
that's it
do
for today.
I don't mind. I'm with you. I'm with you.
I'm going to stop recording now.
Thank you.